Hello and welcome to Warblog. Today I'm going to look at Hodeidah. No jokes. Not Dutch. Essentially, I just leapt out of bed this morning and I thought, what's in the news? And I read this site called conflictmap.org, I think. It's sort of interesting. It's a bit sort of, well, it's a bit odd. It keeps thinking it's on a mobile device and you get the mobile version. You've got to be lucky to get the proper version. But it just gives you sort of a list of news articles, and I pulled this one out of the hat. Now, the thing to say about this is I'm quite pleased with it. But it's not designed to be pretty much the entire continent of Yemen. So essentially, so what's going on here? Well, basically, got some stuff written up there, quite a few of these sort of newsy things, including, an article on container management. Okay, also some optional US support. It's not happening, but some of these articles are actually, this Sputnik news. Is Trump planning a major US escalation in Yemen? Increased US military support to Saudi would boost war of genocide in Yemen. So I didn't read that through before I read it aloud, and the point is, Trump is sort of lessening the restrictions on supporting the Saudi intervention. So there's Saudis up here, and there's some Saudi units. But the bottom line is what they're trying to do here. Let's go into plane mode so we can actually look at this port here. So we're not using the US units unless you optionally want to, because they're not necessarily there. I was going to put in some US ships and big ones, so maybe I should put some Saudi ships in, but I'm not sure whether this island will stop them from going up and down, so I might have to take it out. But the whole point of this, without sort of wibbling on like an idiot, is that they want to take out this port, which is Al Hodeidah. It's a port, and they want to take that out. They're claiming that a lot of ammunition is being shipped through the port. If you read the container news, their main concern is that some of the cranes have been knocked out of use and they need to be replaced. And the more sort of practical aspects of container port management. But that's something else. I mean, basically, they want to take this out. But the thing is, they're not actually there. They're up here. They're there, and they're down here. So the thing is, so I can't actually get a map unless I actually draw a map that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hexes wide. I could have done a map 8 hexes wide and that tall. So I can't do that without getting in all of this other stuff. So all this other stuff is pointless. None of this stuff is relevant. All you've got here is the front line, which sort of goes in like that, and then it comes around here, and then it comes down here like that. But of course it's got this little thing up here, so what we got there just to sort of is Taze, which is under siege, and it's still under siege. It's been under siege for absolutely ages. So you've got these little sort of features and aspects of what's happening. You've got this little set of units here. Quite honestly, I don't really know what they're doing there, but they're actually isolated. So the front line sort of goes like this, and then there's this little pocket of these Yemeni government forces, and I've not really read any stories about what they're doing there or where they are, but they're on the south front sort of strategic map. So now I've put these units in. These are the Republican Guard, because they were sort of initially sort of associated with what's happening, but there's no reference to them in this sort of set of sort of news articles, but I'm assuming that they're probably there somewhere, so I've just sort of put them in just for the hell of it. But so essentially that's the situation. So basically what's happening is, just to make it clear. The Yemeni government forces, supported by the Saudi coalition, which potentially might include additional support by the US for things like intelligence and logistics and air fueling and things like that. They want to basically take out this place here. So one of the things that I'm trying to explain here, that I'm not feeling I'm doing a good job of, is that it's not as though they're going to have you might thought they would have sort of modest objectives like taking out Abs or Al-Luhayya, or moving north, because they took out Mocha. I think I've got a game that sort of reflects that period. The great initiative to take out Hayes, or something like that. But they're actually sort of just going, straight for that. It's like saying, well, we're going to take out a strategic initiative to take out the whole country. That's an awful long way to fight just to get to a port. So this game really is, and again, it's one of these games that's sort of set there for demonstrative purposes. If you sort of hear about this or read about it, and it's not exactly sort of headline news, but if you sort of see this in the news, this sort of Saudi-led Yemeni government forces are building up for an initiative against Al Hodeidah port, you'll actually have a bit of better understanding about what they're actually saying. I mean, that's a stupendous task to undertake. I mean, it's about 150 to 200 kilometres in that direction, and about 100 to 150 kilometres in that direction. And they've got to fight all the way through all of these little green units just to get to this place, which is pretty heavily defended. And so that's that. Now, I think it will make an interesting game. I'm not even going to... I might make a little start at it. I think, just to sort of reiterate, the sort of, not so much the premise, but I think to play it, you've got to sort of say, okay, well, we're going to accept the status quo of the rest of the game, because the thing is, this place here, it's Taiz, whatever. It's under siege. It's been under siege for over a year, maybe 2 years, maybe longer. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that if you were to do a single attack, it wouldn't be too long before you'd get the defender retreat roll, and you'd finish that siege. So if you do play, you either leave these as they are and leave all the other situations as they are, because otherwise you could start sort of saying, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to come up this way and take these units out, and then take this one out, or whatever. You can have a very different strategy, or as the Houthis, you could actually start to, maybe take out these units or advance. So really, we're not trying to sort of start doing that sort of battle where we're doing the whole game. It's not. It's all about this coastal reach up here. So that said, I'm going to start doing the first sort of bouts of it. Now, I think the first thing to sort of possibly consider is the numerical factors here. So we've got basically 2 infantry companies, artillery company, and 2 armoured companies. And they've got 3 infantry companies. We've got 2 infantry, artillery, mechanised, 2 mechanised, and an armour against 3. So I think it's going to be pretty much a walkover there. Down here we've got the build-up. Now we've got 3 mechanised units, mechanised, 2 mechanised, and 3 armour. I mean, they don't actually have any infantry. Spoiled for heavy-duty firepower. One other thing to just add, when I was setting this up, and to be quite honest, I don't really know what the movement rates are, but I was sort of thinking, well, what I'm saying is I don't understand how the game works to a small extent. I could look it up and figure it out, but I was thinking, well, hang on, if you were in there, well, that's hills, so you could probably move out there, but you can't move from the hills into the mountain. It's a sort of no-go zone, so this is actually quite a strategic road, because you can't actually get there, although it is hills, so you can, but you can't go from there to there unless you are mountain troops or special forces or or irregulars. So essentially, now the thing is, I'm saying that, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure that I can probably send my motorised units through the mountains, which is stupid. So I probably have to review the arrangements, but before I review them, I have to actually figure them out because I don't know what the arrangements are exactly. But I think this is a fantastic game for sort of that sort of, well, you could take your motorised units along there, but they can't go into there. So you could have enemy units there and enemy units, opposing units there, and they can't really do much, or even, between these two hexes, because you can't get from there to there because it's not a road hex cutting across. Again, that's a lot of stuff that's going to come in development, but I thought it was interesting to note, particularly down here, that you could be in that hex and you can't get across into there because there's no road through there. From hills you could, in theory. So that's just a little aside, but I think we've got 3. I'll probably balance them up. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is put in some air power here. Now I'm not using the US forces. 0.8, 0.42, so what's that? 0.4, 2.8, 0. Okay. Now I do want to get the surround. Well, I'm in zone control there. That's a pain. Well, I can't move into the mountains. I wonder if it's because I've got no movement or... Well, I can get there. I really need to get rid of that unit. I'm not calculating the odds, but he should be about 6. 8. I wonder why he was 8. Maybe it's times 3. Times 4, it can't be times 4. This is 8. Why was he 8? Oh well, what did I get? DE. DR. Well, that's not so bad. Hills. Oh, it was 8. The thing is, because I don't know. I mean, that's what I know. Because I don't know it so fluently. I don't know whether it's an error or whether it's just the way it should be working, or not, or the way it isn't working. But anyway, so I've still got some movement here, so at least I can follow on with some of these units. I think 2 of them can't really do much. So he's moved up, and he's all moved out as well. So what can we do here? So there is a way around this. I'm not going to do the calculations, but let's see. 3 to 1, DR, and it's still got movement. Look, can't have much. .4. He's got movement, but can't do anything with it. But if there was someone else there, he'd be able to attack them. Well, he's got movement. Do I want to do that? Do I want to hold that hex? Or let him back in there? I think I'm going to be better off like that. Okay, well, we've got 30 seconds left. I think up here we're going to pretty much walk through all this. That's why I didn't spend any air power on that. Maybe we've got artillery to fire in there, but we've only got 30 seconds left. So I think it's going to be a hard slog just battling through counters. But it'd be an interesting game to play. It's a shame I never really actually even had time to play my own games. But I'm quite happy with this. It was a surprise turn up. I didn't mean to do it, but okay, I'll speak to you later. Cheers, mate.